Good evening, Cleveland and Columbus sports fans. You are listening to the show of the land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tonight, we are going to talk about the undefeated Cleveland Cavaliers. We will talk about some updates with the Cleveland Guardians. We will, unfortunately, talk about the Cleveland Browns. And we will talk some college football and our three great college football teams. We will talk about how the crew did in the MLS Cup playoffs. We will finish things out with some hockey with the Blue Jackets and the Monsters. So stay right here for all of that, and we will get the show started here shortly. Thank you for joining me on the show of the land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We've got a lot to cover tonight, but before we get into the sports, let's hear a word from our wonderful sponsors, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet, and Seal the Deal Wax Seals, and of course, IE Sports Radio. Stay right here and we will get things rolling with the sports right after this.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at iSports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making iSports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back to the show of the land with a Jenn B on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Shout out once again to our wonderful sponsors, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet, and Seal the Deal Wax Seals. And of course, be sure to follow IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and be sure to hit that YouTube channel and subscribe. You can follow me at Believeland Girl on XIG and TikTok and Threads, and on TikTok at Jenn.Believeland. And you can follow the show at Show of the Land IE on X. Now, let's talk some sports. How about them Cavs? Shout out real quick to Ralph Calise in the chat. He says, have a great show. Cleveland rocks. Thank you, Ralph. Ralph is the host of the Yinza Report for all of your Pittsburgh sports needs. Be sure to check him out. He is on at 5 o'clock, right before me, on Tuesdays, and that is Eastern Standard Time. Now, those Cavs. How about those freaking Cavs? 8-0. That is right. They are undefeated to start the season for the first eight games. So first up is the week in review. We started the week on Wednesday, my birthday, against the Los Angeles Lakers. I was in attendance for this game, though I did not stay for the whole game because I'm old and I was very uncomfortable. Anywho, the Cavs won 134-110 against the Lakers. They were winning the entire game. Another reason that we did not stay till the end, because it would have been chaos trying to get out of there. But they were up by like 20 something at halftime, and we were just like, you know what, let's head home, because my daughter was with us also, and she had school the next day too. So it just made more sense to just beat the crowds and get on out of there. Shout out to Mikey Two Guns, the creator of Our Bleepin' City. And he says, oh my God, your Cavs have a better record than my Celtics. Wow. Yes, Mikey, the Cavs are undefeated so far to start the season. They have been playing very well under new head coach Kenny Atkinson. Now, against the Lakers, Evan Mobley led the team with 25 points. Jarrett Allen and Darius Garland both had double-doubles. Jarrett Allen had 20 points and 17 rebounds. Darius Garland had 12 points and 10 assists. Friday, they played the Orlando Magic, and they won 120-109. Darius Garland led with 25 points, and Evan Mobley had a double-double with 14 points and 12 rebounds. Saturday, they played the Milwaukee Bucks, who are floundering royally so far this season. I thought for sure this was going to be their first loss just because Milwaukee needed a win badly. And, you can't go undefeated forever. It's I mean, maybe in football, but there's too many games in basketball. Like he says, I'm a little scared of the Cavs this season. I think they'll be our biggest challenge in the East. I can't wait until they play the Celtics. I'm right there with you, Mikey. Last year, does we talked about this last season too. The Celtics and the Cavs always play really super well against each other. It's always a really, really good game, and it always goes down to the final seconds. Well, almost always. But let's get my head a little bit higher. There we go. Um, but yeah, I think it if the Cavs keep up the way they're going and they can stay healthy, I think the East could very well come down to the Celtics and the Cavs. The Cavs have already beaten the Knicks and pretty handily, if I remember correctly. I don't remember the score of that game right off the top of my head, but um, I know these Bucks games were the closest games they've played all season. So they were losing a good part of the Knicks game, but they came back and I think they won by double digits. But I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. I don't have the score right in front of me. So um, but yeah, the Cavs are looking amazing. And he says, I haven't watched the Cavs much yet this season. What players have stood out to you for them so far? All of them. They have been playing so much better. They look cohesive. Whatever the issues may or may not have been between Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell seem to have been squashed. They've figured it out. They figured out how to play well together. Um, they've been kind of taking turns on who has the hot hand each game and going back and forth there. Evan Mobley has definitely taken a step forward offensively. He's still a beast on the defense, but he's definitely taken a step forward offensively. Darius Garland is doing a better job at passing the ball around and not trying to make shots that aren't there. So I am truly amazed at what a difference just changing the coaching staff can do, because that is literally the only change the Cavs made. They have a new coach this year. Credit to him for getting them to play at such a high level. Yes, absolutely. He is whatever he did in the preseason and over the summer has worked wonders because they're playing a different brand of basketball. They look unbeatable. They really do. And shout out to Dre Area Sports. He is the host of our Northern California sports show. So check him out for your Northern California sports needs. He was also on earlier today. He is on, I believe, at 2:00 Eastern on Tuesdays. Might be 1:00. Hopefully he's still watching and he can correct me if I'm wrong. And Mikey wants to know who the new coach is. It is Kenny Atkinson. He was the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets for a few years, assistant coach for Golden State for a number of years, assistant coach for the Lakers, etc., etc. He's coached for a few different teams. Never played in the NBA, but he did play overseas and he played in college. But he is doing an amazing job with the team. So next up is Saturday, the Cavs played the Milwaukee Bucks. And like I said, I thought for sure this was going to be their first loss, but it wasn't to be. Thank God. Donovan Mitchell led with 30 points, including the game winner in the final seconds. Jarrett Allen and Darius Garland both recorded double doubles. Jarrett Allen had 15 points and 12 rebounds, and Darius Garland had 11 points and 10 assists. Monday, they again played the Milwaukee Bucks, this time in Cleveland. Karis LeVert and Dean Wade were both out for the game. Karis LeVert is dealing with a knee injury, and Dean Wade woke up with an illness, so he should be back in the next couple of days. Not sure completely on this, but it's my understanding he is day to day, so he could be back at any point. Isaac Okoro got the start in Dean Wade's absence, and Darius Garland led the team with 39 points. Jarrett Allen had another double-double with 14 points and 15 rebounds. So the score was not actually as close as it appears. The Bucks made a half-court shot at the buzzer to bring it to within 2 points, but the Cavs were actually up by 5. So it's been a great week so far. Hopefully they keep it going. Donovan Mitchell was yesterday named Eastern Conference Player of the Week. So congratulations to Donovan. Mikey wants to know if the Cavs-Bucks game came down to the buzzer. The one on Saturday did. The one yesterday did not. The Cavs were actually up by 5, and Milwaukee hit a half-court shot at the buzzer, so to make it appear that the score was a little bit closer than it was. And he says, what do you think of the weird NBA scheduling where teams play the same team back to back? It is weird, and I'm not sure how I like it. It is very weird. They played the Bucks in Milwaukee on Saturday, and then they played them in Cleveland on Monday. So that was a little odd to me, but it is what it is. I don't make the schedules. I mean, it's working for the Cavs so far. They're undefeated, so I'm not going to argue with it. Next up for the Cavs tomorrow, they will be playing the New Orleans Pelicans in New Orleans. Friday, they will be playing the Golden State Warriors in Cleveland. Saturday, they will play the Brooklyn Nets in Cleveland. And Monday, they will play the Chicago Bulls. I believe that one is in Chicago. So not any overly tough games coming up. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe they can make it 12-0 by next week. We'll see. We'll be talking about them next week for sure. But that is going to wrap things up for the Cavs. We are going to move on to those Cleveland Guardians. We have some award winners. Andres Jimenez and Stephen Kwan were awarded the Rawlings Gold Gloves, of course, like there was any doubt. And Josh Naylor and Jose Ramirez have been named Silver Slugger finalists. Andres Jimenez and Stephen Kwan are both also up for the Platinum Glove, and you can vote for that at rawlings.com. So jump on there and vote for one of our guys. Andres Jimenez got it last year, and as far as I'm concerned, he deserves it again. There is nobody that plays like Andres Jimenez. That is for sure. Got some roster updates this week. Miles Straw accepted his outright assignment to AAA Columbus. James Karinchak was activated from the 60-day IL and has been granted free agency. Sam Henches and Trevor Steffen were activated from the 60-day IL, so that's good. We're getting some pitchers back. But on the not so good news, David Fry underwent UCL surgery on his elbow this week, and his recovery time for hitting is 6 to 8 months, and for fielding, 12 months. So we will not be seeing David Fry most likely next season. And that sucks. Because if it weren't for David Fry, we wouldn't have even made it as far as we did in the playoffs. Like he says, I'm still not used to saying Guardians. I always say Indians instinctively. My husband does too. I keep correcting him. I was like that for a while, but since I have to talk about them every week, I've gotten used to it now. But my husband will say it. He'll be like, "How did the Indians do?" And I say, "I don't know. They didn't play." The Guardians, however, trying to get him to say the right name just so he doesn't screw me up. But that is going to wrap things up for the baseball and basketball. I am going to take a short break. And when I come back, we will talk some football and football. So stay right here, listening to the show of the land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I will be right back after this.
What's up, New York? This is Ricky K coming at you at the NY State of Sports, a new show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Listen to me every Thursday afternoon as we bring you the latest takes on the Yankees, Mets, Jets, Giants, Knicks, Nets, Rangers, Devils, and Islanders. Plus, you get some college hoops and what's the local sports events going on in the area. It's a state that never sleeps, so why not get the opinions and sports takes that never sleep? Again, every Thursday, 2 p.m. to the NY State of Sports. We'll see you then.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Carney, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
You are back with the show of the land with Jenn B on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Be sure to check out those wonderful shows. New York State of Sports with Ricky K for all of your New York sports needs. And of course, Chi-Town Weekly with Adam Karnick for your Chicago sports needs. And those shows are both on Mondays. Now we're going to talk some wah, wah, wah. Mikey says, Deshaun Watson is out for the season, or are they expecting him back for the home stretch? He is out for the season. He tore his Achilles and just had surgery to repair it. He will not be back, most likely until the middle of next season. So he is done, and I would not be surprised if we never see him in a Browns uniform again. And he says, "You were made for this. You're so smooth on the mic." Thank you so much, Mikey. I truly appreciate it. And he says, "I can relate to your husband in regards to the Indians versus Guardians." Yes, it was a hard transition. I was very against it when it first happened. There's still people calling for them to go back to the Indians. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I don't think they'll ever go back. But anyway, now for the wah, wah, wah. Sunday, the Browns played the LA Chargers in Cleveland and they lost 27-10. It was not great. Myles Garrett had 3 sacks, ending his sack slump. So that's good. But other than that, there wasn't much to talk about. Jameis Winston threw 3 interceptions. He did throw 1 touchdown. One touchdown. But yeah, it was just it wasn't as bad as the first few weeks with Deshaun Watson, but it was not great. Mikey's laughing at my womp 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 sounds. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to talk about. It just was, another loss. So they're 2-7. So best possible record is 10-7. So chances of making the playoffs are slim to none. But we do have some roster updates. The trade deadline was today at 4 p.m., and the Browns did make a trade. They traded defensive end Zadarius Smith and a 2026 7th-round pick to the Detroit Lions for a 2025 5th-round pick and a 2026 6th-round pick. They also terminated the contract of defensive tackle Quentin Jefferson, who has been a healthy inactive for the last few weeks. So guess they were done with his services. And that's not surprising because Mike Hall Jr. has been playing very well since he returned from his suspension. So best of luck and good riddance, I guess, Quentin Jefferson. And thank you, Zadarius Smith, for all you have done in Cleveland and for that amazing smile of yours. And I wish you all the best in Detroit. Maybe you can get a ring. Maybe, because you sure aren't getting one here, at least not this season. How is Deshaun Watson's popularity in Cleveland right now? I know he's underperformed with that massive contract. Yeah, his popularity is in the toilet. Nobody wants him here. The people who were defending him have all jumped off that ship for the most part. I have heard very few, if any, people supporting Deshaun Watson, and almost everyone is saying he took his last snap as a Cleveland Brown, the snap that he snapped his Achilles. I do not support this. And in fact, I called fans out on Twitter for it, or X, whatever you want to call it. But the fans in the stadium celebrated when he went down with the injury. So that tells you pretty much all you need to know about how people feel about Deshaun Watson. Sadly. I mean, you can't put up the numbers you put up and expect people to support you. So next up for the Browns is the bye week. So yay, I don't have to suffer through a Browns game on Sunday. Woot woot. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to be watching football. At least not Browns football. Now for some college football. Let's talk about those Ohio State Buckeyes. The Ohio State Buckeyes have moved up to number 3 after defeating the Penn State Nittany Lions on Saturday, 20-13. It was an okay game. Nothing to write home about, but 2 tough teams playing each other. If you remember from last week, they were ranked 3 and 4. Now they are ranked 6 and 3. Penn State has dropped to number 6. Ohio State moved up to number 3. So, I mean, Ohio State did have a chance to score again, but they opted for victory formation instead. So uh, it wasn't terrible. Mikey says bad karma to celebrate injuries. Although Cleveland has nice fans, so he really must have sucked bad to get there to get on their bad side like that. That and the fact that there was a new sexual assault case brought against him has not helped the way anybody in this city feels about him. His play would have been his saving grace. However, it was the opposite. He looked like crap. And then Jameis Winston came in and walked all over the Baltimore Ravens. So, I mean, there is no love lost here in Cleveland for Deshaun Watson. Now we just hope that the NFL suspends him so that the Browns can get out of the remaining guaranteed $92 million on his contract. Next up for the Buckeyes, they will be playing the Purdue Boilermakers on Saturday at noon Eastern Standard Time. They only have one more ranked opponent left this season, and that is Indiana. Like he said, he must hold the NFL record for most sexual assault cases. I don't see how he couldn't. I mean, if he doesn't, then yikes. Ohio State only has one ranked opponent left this season, and that is Indiana, and I believe it's in a couple of weeks. The only other possible ranked team that they play is Michigan, and they are not ranked anymore. So sadly, the final game of the season for the Buckeyes will probably be a blowout because Michigan sucks this year. Or Exogen. We call them Exogen here in Ohio because we don't like them up north. We don't like them up north at all. Now for the Purple Raiders. The Mount Union Purple Raiders, Division 3, number 3. Mount Union Purple Raiders played Capital on Saturday, and they shut them out 54-0. That's right. 54-0. Zilch nada. So, they continue with their blowouts. However, this coming Saturday, they will be playing number 23, Marietta, we will be talking about here next. Marietta Pioneers are up from 25 to 23. And they played Wilmington this past Saturday, and they won 52-6. So Saturday, they will be taking on Mount Union. So Mount Union scored 54. Marietta scored 52. Let's see what they score against each other. This could be a ridiculously high-scoring game on both sides, or it could be 0-0. Who knows? Looking forward to this matchup and see how Marietta, who just surprised us in the D3 rankings last week, does. They are 8-0, as are the Purple Raiders. So this game could actually be for the conference. So we'll see what happens. But Marietta doesn't have it easy because after Mount Union, they play John Carroll, who has not lost since they lost to Mount Union. So we'll see what happens there. But should be a good game. I'll be interested. I will be surprised if Mount Union blows Marietta out, but we'll see what happens. We will talk about that next week for sure and see who comes out on top and whose ranking changes, because if Mount Union loses, they'll probably drop in the rankings. If Marietta loses, there may not be any changes because Mount Union has been winning and winning and winning, and they have stayed at number 3 all freaking season. So if Mount Union wins, there may not be any changes. Marietta may drop down. We'll see. But I don't expect Mount Union will move at all. Mount Union will likely drop and Marietta will move up, however, if Marietta wins. So we'll keep an eye on that. That is it for the football. Now it is time for some football. And this is some more wah, wah, wah. The Crew disappointed me this week. They played a game 1 against the New York Red Bulls and lost 1-0. Max Arfston scored the lone goal. That was last Wednesday. No, it wasn't. It was Tuesday. It was right after my show. Actually, it had started during the show last Tuesday. Then on Sunday, they played game 2 against the New York Red Bulls. Elimination game. Win and live to see another match, lose, and you're done. And it was a 2-2 draw at the end of regular time. And the Crew lost in penalty kicks 5-4. Sadly, Max Arfston and Christian Ramirez scored the 2 goals during the regular time. So the Crew season is over. They played way too much non-MLS play this season. They did score a couple of extra championships and some valuable experience playing against international teams. But unfortunately, it cost them in the long run in the MLS Cup playoffs. They were exhausted, and now it is time to recoup and get ready for next season. They did set a number of club records this season, so that is promising. So hopefully they will be back better and stronger next season for another run at the MLS Cup. That is going to wrap things up for the football and football. I am going to take another short break, and when I come back, we will get into the hockey. You are listening to the Show of the Land with Jenn B on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, and I will be right back after this.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Are you a fan of Buffalo sports? Are you thinking of changing loyalties and becoming a Buffalo sports fan? Do you even know where Buffalo is on the map? Did you know Canada is closer to Buffalo than New York City? Welcome to the Buffalo Huddle, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Patty Bax. This is a podcast designed for you, the passionate sports fan. I know you love your sports. Who doesn't? I cover Buffalo sports and so much more by bringing in the human elements. I call it Buffalo Sports with a Twist. Join me as we take a journey into the world of Buffalo sports. I guarantee you'll fall in love with Buffalo just like I did. Each week we start with an inspiration, question of the day, a Buffalo fun fact, and our weekly challenge to you, the listener. Come huddle up with me. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time for the Buffalo Huddle with Patty Bax on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. As we say in Buffalo, go Bills!
Welcome back to the Show of the Land with Jenn B on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Be sure to check out those wonderful shows, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show with Taryn Rodriguez. You can catch that show on Friday evenings, and the Buffalo Huddle with Patty Bax, which is on Tuesdays right after me at 7 p.m. And you could catch her over on Spreaker or wherever you get your podcasts. Put that up real quick. Now for some hockey talk. Let's talk about the hockey. So, Blue Jackets this past week. Not as great as the last couple of weeks, but, it's not terrible. Wednesday, they played the New York Islanders and they won 2-0. Damon Severson and Justin Danforth scored the 2 goals, and Elvis Merzlikins recorded his first shutout of the season. Friday, they played the Winnipeg Jets and lost 6-2. Sean Corrali and Sean Monahan scored the 2 goals. Saturday, they played the Washington Capitals and lost 7-2. Kevin LeBanc and Damon Severson scored the 2 goals. Now, though they did lose those last 2 games, the Winnipeg Jets and the Washington Capitals have 2 of the best records in the NHL right now. So, it's not the end of the world, and it's not as bad as it seems. So, now we move on to the West Coast. And tonight, the Blue Jackets will be playing the San Jose Sharks at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay up for that one. We shall see. Saturday, they take on the Kings, and Sunday, the Anaheim Ducks. And then they will be going up to Seattle, but that's not until Tuesday night after my next show. So we'll talk more about that one next week. So hopefully they can get another win or 2 or 3 out there on the West Coast. There's also some good news coming out of practice. Kent Johnson is skating again. So hopefully we will be seeing him back in games soon. That would be a huge help for the Blue Jackets. Now, let's talk about their AHL affiliate, the Cleveland Monsters. This past week, the Monsters did much better. Saturday, they played the Toronto Marlies and they won 4-2. Cameron Butler, James Malatesta, Max McHugh, and Dylan Gambrell scored the 4 goals. It was Max McHugh's first professional goal of his career, so congratulations to Max. Sunday, they played the Grand Rapids Griffins and won 3-1. Roman Akan scored 2 goals, and Olin Sillinger scored the last goal on an empty net. So Way to go. Monsters going 2-0 this week. Way to pick up those points. Next up for the Monsters, tomorrow they will be playing the Rochester Americans. Friday they play the Utica Comets. Saturday the Syracuse Crunch, and Monday the Utica Comets again. So hopefully they can notch a couple more wins for them as well. That is all I have in the hockey world. So that's going to pretty much wrap things up. Next week, we will not be talking about the Browns much. We'll talk about their upcoming game against the New Orleans Saints. But, and then whatever they happen to do this week during the bye week, if they make any roster changes or anything like that, we'll talk about that, of course. And we will for sure be talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll see if they remain undefeated or not over these next 4 games. We will see how the Ohio State Buckeyes, the Mount Union Purple Raiders, and the Marietta Pioneers fare this Saturday. At least one of those teams is going to lose. At least one of them. So we'll see where we're at there. We will then, of course, wrap up the show like we always do with the hockey, with how the Blue Jackets and the Monsters finished out this coming week. But that's all I got. Extra shout out to Donovan Mitchell for winning Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Keep up the great work, Cleveland Cavaliers. Keep us happy because Lord knows we can't count on the Browns for that. Thank you one and all for joining me this week on the Show of the Land with Jenn B right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Be sure to follow the show on X at Show of the Land IE, and you can follow me on XIG and Threads at BelieveLand Girl, and on TikTok at Jen.BelieveLand. Be sure to follow IE Sports Radio on XIG, Facebook, and TikTok, and get on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. If you miss the live show, you can catch the audio playback on all of these wonderful options: Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and so on and so forth. Be sure to check out our website. You can check out my page. It has a little bio about me and some more information. The show schedules are up there, and our blogs and all of those things. So check those out. Next up is the Buffalo Huddle with Patty Bax at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. She will be on Spreaker, so you can catch her over there here in about 10 minutes. And then later on tonight, we will have Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris, the Neutral Zone, and Sin City Sports. So be sure to check out those wonderful shows. And once again, thank you to Ralph Calise of the Yinzer Report, Mikey Two Guns of Our Bleeping City, and Dre Area Sports for Andre. He is the host of the NorCal Sports Report. Be sure to check out all those wonderful shows and the rest of our shows, which you can, like I said, find on our website or on all of our social media accounts. I will catch you all next week. Thank you. Have a wonderful